It just might be the most competitive racing series in North America. The starting fields number well over 50 automobiles. And so far this season, we've had 9 different makes winning races. Acura, Ford, Pontiac, BMW, Honda, Hyundai, Lexus, and Oldsmobile. And in the driver department, we've seen over 30 different winners. Today, we might be looking to add to that list as we go to Sebring, Florida for round 9 of the Motorola Cup. And it's brought to you by Motorola, web without wires. By Derringer, complete international logistics solutions. And by Sunoco, ethanol enhanced Ultra 94, the gasoline that powers the Motorola Cup. Jim Martin, and welcome to Sebring, Florida for the Motorola Cup. We've talked about the drivers who have won races this year, but there's also a restless group looking for their first win of the season. Terry Airwood, who would you pick for today as having a shot at that first win?
It's amazing, Jim. This series is so competitive. I can name 10 guys who haven't won so far this season, but have as good a shot as anybody of winning this race today. We have David Lacey in the Mustang number 7. Mike Culver, Andy Tobin in the BMW M3, number 22. Steve Pfeffer and Mike Fitzgerald, they're in an M3, number 54 car. Scott Hartmann, Joe Foster, they're in the Audi number 2, also looking for Audi's first win in Touring if possible. We have John Wymore, Dick Starita back in Touring trying to get their first win. There's so many cars that can pull this off because these cars are so equal.
Now, the opening race of the season was here at Sebring as well, and boy, we had a real barn burner.
I'm glad you said that, not me. That's a number 79 Firebird, ending up a little bit on the well-done side at our first race back in March here. But the action on the track was hot and heavy also, and I think we'll see that again today. You know, this track is so wide, it's so diversified. It's my favorite track in the country. It's very wide, a lot of places to pass, it's real tight. Take a look at it and go around the track. Going down to the hairpin turn, this is the tightest corner on the track. It's second gear for most cars, especially if you're passing. You know, it's a horsepower track, but it's also a brake track. It's also a handling track. So you'll see a lot of guys lead in some areas, get past another. You've got to give guys room where you can. If you're on this long back straightaway, you can get a big draft running, but then you got enough brakes when you get down to turn 17, one of my favorite turns in the country. But you turn in flat out in 5th gear. You got to stab 4th gear halfway in the corner, 3rd gear in the middle of the corner. Now, as the guys are getting ready, they're warming their tires up.
Getting ready for the start. Today's race on tap, we've got 3 hours, which will require 2 drivers in each of the cars, lots of pit stops, and lots of action along the front straightaway, too. Now, let's take a look at our Speed Stick fastest qualifiers. On the pole, John Heinricy, along with Marty Miller, sharing the 33 Pontiac Firebird today. Beside them on the front row, Mark Adley, Todd Snyder, Ford Mustang, the 17 car.
In the sports category, Howie Liebengood and Andy Lally are on the pole. John Barrasso, Lance Stewart on the outside pole. Mike Van Sicklen and Hugh Plum bring up 3rd.
In the touring class, we find the Joe Foster, Scott Hartmann, number 2 Audi Quattro, looking for their first win with the pole. Schwartz on Endicott, 71 Acura, 2nd. Hein Green, number 58 Prelude, is 3rd.
And in compact, it's Magner, Fenton, and Beede. They're on the pole. Hayner and Craig are 2nd. And once again, Fenton and Beede in 3rd. 2 cars, 3 drivers.
It might require them to be in a couple places at the same time, and should be interesting to see how that plays out. Here in the Motorola Cup, you can jump from car to car, but only score driver points in the car you're scheduled to drive. We'll be right back with the start after we figure this one out. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Sebring, Florida. The lights are off in the race car, and we are headed for the start. Our second visit to the track here in Sebring, and it looks as though the field is in pretty fair shape. Coming underneath the footbridge and down the start-finish line, looking for the green flag. Look at the BMW come up the right side. Here they go. We are under green. John Heinricy in the 33 Firebird will lead the field. His teammate, the 32 car, will run in 2nd spot. Coming into the first corner as they spread them out 4 and 5 abreast and then lean into the left-hand curve.
This is actually a fourth gear corner when you're by yourself. It's a 100-mile-an-hour corner. We already have a spin right in the middle.
Dave Lacey in the 7 Ford Mustang spins around, and he's watching all these cars come screaming at him. That must be a terrifying place to be.
You know, you feel like you have a bullseye on the car. We have another spin leaving this corner. Again, this is a 90-100-mile-an-hour corner, so it's real easy because it narrows down from 7 cars abreast to 5 cars abreast to 3 cars abreast.
Hey, Mike Van Sicklen does a great job to pull it off the wall. It looks as though he had some help. The back bumper of the car is falling off. Nonetheless, the 33 Firebird is our race leader. John Heinricy will lead him into the hairpin corner for the first time.
Maybe we can sort of see the replay at the start. We had so many cars running into turn 1.
Now we've got the leading pack gets through without too much trouble, and then in the middle of it, somebody turns around that number 7 Ford Mustang, and David Lacey, boy, has just a nasty view of the entire field splitting to get around him.
That's why you've got to lock the brakes if you turn a car around. Also, now let's see what happens to one of our touring cars, Mike Van Sicklen. He gets turned around from behind, gets off into grass. High-speed acceleration, barely taps the wall here. Probably didn't hurt the car too much. The boy's going to be way back.
Little altercation with one of the Aquilati cars, but 2 of them running up front side by side. The teammate, Stu Hayner, looks to the inside of John Heinricy in the 32 car. Stu Hayner steals away first. Now, it looks as though Hayner may be on a bit of a charge here. What kind of team orders might they be under here?
These guys actually run together for many years on the Joe Aquilini team. So it's a good chance that, you know, they all say, look, if you get a chance to pass me cleanly, get around me. But otherwise, stay right there. Let's run away from this BMW because he's coming.
There's no doubt about it. Mike Culver seems to be on a bit of a charge as well. And a little further back, there's some other cars that could figure into this before the afternoon is out as well, including that number 16 Mazda.
On board with Peter Schwartzite, real battle in touring. Now watch the Audi get sideways. He comes off the gas, unloads the rear end, but being all-wheel drive, he goes back to power, straightens it back out. This is going to be a great run in touring today.
It seems as though the Audi is well suited to the race course here at Sebring. So far, leads their class. Scott Hartmann behind the wheel of the number 2 car, chasing down one of the Grand Sport Firebirds and drives to the inside into the hairpin.
Yeah, it's pretty rare that you can get a touring car around the Grand Sports, but once in a while we have trouble with the car. Maybe you got a brand new driver that just out of the school or something, and they're going to run back in practice.
Both of the touring class cars running first and second in class get by the Grand Sport 35 Firebird and now head to the top side of the track, and we've got a car in a long pit lane.
That's our leader, number 72, back in the sports class, Howie Liebengood, in for a stop and go.
Not really. Not really sure if it's a good idea to try to jump the start of a 3-hour race. Cost him a stop and go penalty back out on the circuit now. Let's look at a replay.
Yeah, we see him. He's back here. He's leading in sports. You know, he's about 8 rows back. He takes what we call a golden opportunity. Look, nobody's over here. Let's take the shot. But the flag hasn't dropped yet. He goes to the brake, so at the last minute, he goes back in his original spot. But because everybody saw him pop out like that, it looked like he jumped the start. Oh, man, he's going way back.
It's almost one of those things. If you're going to jump the start, you might as well keep going and see if you can get away with it. It certainly didn't work to his advantage. Another car stopped out on the racetrack.
That's a 944 Porsche.
Carlos De Quesada, the 02 Porsche 944, and we'll see exactly how that ended up in the grass as he gets turned around in quarter 1.
Little synchronized spinning here. Zippo car gets with him. This turn 1, like I say, it's about 4 or 5 cars going in there at one time. And here comes another little off-course excursion.
The 26 Firebird pulls off into the grass, and it's going to stop. Looks like some kind of a motor problem. Another car is stopped, the 81 BMW, as he gets turned around by this 24 Acura over here, too.
Lots of spinning all at once. I don't know if this is down at turn 17, the last corner. It's easy to get turned around.
And with all these cars stopped around the racetrack, it just makes sense to bring out a full course yellow and take care of all the problems all at once. So full course yellow comes out, the safety car will come out, and into the pits, the number 32 race leader.
And this cannot be a routine stop. It's way too early in the race. They got the trunk up. There's something wrong here. We're going to put gas in it. Obviously, you always do that when you come in, but they're looking inside the car. I don't know if something's loose in the car. This would not be a shock adjustment, obviously.
Yeah, we'll take a quick break while the crowd around the race circuit here at Sebring looks on. We'll be back with a restart in just a moment. Welcome back with a restart here at Sebring. The 33 Pontiac Firebird of John Heinricy is our race leader. The green is up one more time. The 22 BMW M3, Mike Culver running in second spot, and he's got Greg Wilkins right behind him looking to the inside.
Yeah, third is up for grabs here at Mustang. 3 different type cars right here running 1, 2, 3 at Sebring. Now, and the third car back there, he's under attack by the Firebird from Daytona, Greg Conway.
Greg Conway looking to the inside, and he's got a line on him and takes to the grass just a little bit. Doesn't have quite enough room, but makes it happen. Greg Wilkins, the 0 car, we're riding on board now. As we watch over his shoulder, as Greg Conway, the 31 Firebird, has a bit of an advantage. Coming down south of Green Park into that hairpin corner one more time. The cars are side by side.
Yeah, the Firebird's on the proper line on the inside. It's a right-hand turn. The Firebird's where he needs to be. But, boy, you don't want to go side by side through these tight corners. It just slows both of you down, and you risk hitting each other. The Mustang's got to slot back in there in fourth place.
And that's exactly what he does. He's going to try to get a run up the next piece of the straightaway here at Sebring, but it doesn't look as though he's going to be able to make any kind of impact on him right now. Greg Wilkins running in fourth spot in the 0-Ford Mustang. Out front, the cars begin to stretch it just a little bit. John Heinricy will be sharing the ride with Marty Miller. That 33 Pontiac Firebird down the big, long airport straightaway coming into turn number 17.
Got a good draft run here. You saw the Firebird hit fifth gear, little smoke out the exhaust. But the BMW falls back a little bit on his high-speed straightaway, but under braking, BMW handles a little better, corners a little better. You'll see him tuck right back under him as you get to the bridge, turn 17, coming over the front straightaway.
The race leaders coming on to that straightaway as we've got a car off the circuit. The 62 Honda Del Sol is parked right up against the tire wall out on the track.
Yeah, I don't think he just parked it there, but let's see if we get an onboard replay, see how he got there. We're on board the number 6 car, the 06 car, and as the hard braking zone down in here, we're coming up to turn 3, they call it. Oh, yeah, the 06 will tuck inside him. Honda doesn't see him. A little light tap unloads the rear end. He goes to full power to fix it, but it over-fixes the car. We'll talk about hook slides later.
A textbook example. As we see the number 32 Pontiac Firebird, the early leader came in for a pit stop. He's back out on the racetrack, but well down now. As we look at our STP leaderboard at the 10-lap mark, leading in Grand Sport. His teammate in the 33 machine, John Heinricy, in the Firebird leads. Culver and Pilgrim's 22 BMW is second. Third, Conway, Powell, and Goad in the 31.
In the sports class, the number 10 Acura, John Barrasso, leads Chuck Goldsboro Lexus over Howie Liebengood in the number 72 BMW.
In the touring class, currently we've got the Hartman Foster number 2 Audi leading. Schwartzon Endicott in the Acura running in second, and third, the Prelude of Heinricy.
Bob Fenton leads in the compact class in his Del Sol over the Cullen, Trade, and Craig Hyundai. They'll Pecco and Magner bring up the Chiba.
It's time now for another Professor Terry driving tips, brought to you by Castrol, track-proven performance. Castrol, an official sponsor of the Motorola Cup. The subject of Terry's lesson today, the dreaded hook slide.
One of our biggest reasons that people spin our cars in the skid barber school is sliding the car sideways, steering into the skid, and the steering works. When the end of the steering, when it works, all that energy you stored up snaps the car in the other direction. Watch this little monster here as we're going to the inner loop at Watkins Glen. The rear end unloads. He steers into the skid, but when that works, it snaps in the other direction. All that energy we stored up, if you're going to correct it, you got to bring it back. For every action in life, there's at least an equal and opposite reaction. The rear end unloads, the rear end slides sideways, we're steering right, as we should be. Right now, he should snap the wheel back straight and outrun this energy, but he doesn't. And here comes the energy, turns the car around, you got to jam the brakes on. So sometimes it ain't worth saving. Let's watch a 24-car at MOTORSPORT. He gets the rear end sliding sideways, a teeny skid, but look at all the correction he dials in. Way too much correction. So when it works, it overcorrects the car. You hear that on TV a lot, and now he's turned it all the way around. But he's going to come up right out in the middle of the racetrack, and he can tell everybody later, I saved it. That's a yellow car almost piles into him. Ben Watti's beautiful job here. Rear drive car, gets the rear end sideways, dials his correction in, but at the end of the correction, you see him jerk those front tires back straight so it doesn't hook slide or tank slap or slide back in the other direction. Let's watch it again. As he turns in, mismatches the downshift, locks up the rear tires. Now he dials in his correction. He's got a little power down to fix it, but he snaps the wheels back straight, eases back the gas to calm the car down. So a beautiful save here by the RX-7.
We're back underway one more time. The restart here at Sebring. The 33 Firebird of John Heinricy leads. A bunch of people driving to the inside of the racetrack, but Heinricy, with a full head of steam, will hold on to this race lead. However, in behind him, the 31 car moves into second spot. The 22 BMW slides down to third. Another car off the racetrack at the exit of turn number 1, coming back onto the circuit. Some people behind check up just a little bit, and we've got all sorts of action now. A lot of cars coming together back there. The 26 Pontiac Firebird still in the grass, loses all sorts of ground. Lots of action as we had one car fall off the racetrack and a lot of other people dicing for position and trying to make the best of a bad situation out there. Let's take another look.
Well, we're trying to put too many cars in a small spot here. The Firebird comes back onto the track, so guys start moving over. 10 moves into the 59 car. He gets caught on him, slams over, hits a Firebird who was totally innocent in this deal. 2 team cars, it's a TI Racing team cars, now trying to all battle for position. This is your touring class back in here.
Let's get a look over the shoulder of John Barassa coming through turn number 1 here. Totally innocent, doesn't look like anything's really wrong, and then all of a sudden he kind of gets leaned on.
Well, actually, John moves over to get to miss the Firebird, not realizing that the Hayner car was there.
I'm not sure who the big winner in this little battle is going to end up being. However, the 90 Lexus moves right up beside that number 10 Acura, which got sandwiched a little earlier on. Whether he's had some damage to the car or not, I'm not sure, but he has lost the class lead to that 90 Lexus and actually loses the second spot at the same time. That 72 BMW Z3 slides by. So a bunch of changes all of a sudden as a result of that action at the exit of turn number 1. The 10 Team Hurricane Acura with some pretty substantial body damage out there, running 3rd in class. He started the lap in 1st.
All it takes is a small mistake, and all of a sudden we can lose a lot of spots. Back to our leaders.
John Heinricy in the 33 Pontiac Firebird being chased pretty hard by Craig Conway, the 31 Sunoco Firebird running in 2nd spot. Those two cars having a real good battle, and just in behind them right now, the 22 BMW too. 3 cars headed down to the south side of the racetrack one more time. We've got the 33 Firebird, the 31 Firebird, the 22 BMW 1st, 2nd, and 3rd heading onto the big long straightaway.
This is a great part of the racetrack. It's real tight right in here before we go into turn 15. Notice how they hook to the left a little bit. That's to get the maximum radius for this nice long back straightaway. We have a replay here of the Lexus, our sports leader right now, as he goes around a touring car, Chuck Goldsberg car, locks up the front brakes. Looks like the ABS is not working on his car. He's going to go straight. You lock a front brake, a car will not steer. You got to get off the brakes.
Although he did a great job of putting it back on the racetrack, there's somebody else with a problem out here. One of the BMW Z3s coming onto the Ullman straightaway, the big long straight. Looks as though he's going to come back on the racetrack, but he's had a problem out on the circuit as well.
Yeah, this comes on to turn 15 here in the back. Oh, he turns the car around. He drops the left rear wheel off, and that snaps him across the track.
Talking about hook slides.
That's exactly what he did. He slid it sideways through his correction in, and it hooked up, and it turned him back around. He could have grabbed the gear and gone on. True, never know.
Catching up to the race leaders once again as we watch some of the better battles out on the circuit. The battle for about, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th spot. The BMWs definitely in the hunt here at Sebring today.
Yeah, the M3s, you know, we talk all year about how good the brakes are, how well these cars handle. You know, these cars, they just don't go away. You know, they're always like a gnat on the back of your neck trying to get that sucker off.
In some of the other classes, the compact number 27, Honda del Sol, Bill Fenton and Bob Beede leading in the compact right now. Now, this car started 3rd in compact today. They moved their way up into the 1st place position. They've been as consistent as anybody over the entire season and currently lead the point standings in their class. In touring class, we've got a new leader, that number 2 Audi, getting its best run of the season, being chased down by the 71 Acura. Those two cars run nose to tail in touring class. Scott Hartmann in the Audi currently leading the class, but only by about 6 feet coming out of the front straightaway. We've got more action to come from Sebring International Raceway in just a moment.
Long straightaway. And now, that Mustang that's in the middle here, he is not for position. But it does sort of mix up things as you've got to use that guy as a pick when you're working traffic, when you're trying to pass. The BMW, he's hanging on the second as hard as he can. That Firebird's right there, but now the Mustang's going to slow the Firebird down as they go side by side. It's going to be a little bit of running room for the leader.
That's exactly what Mike Culver wanted to do. Is we've got a car off the track. The 71 Peter Schwartzon Acura does a little off-roading. It's a little uncharacteristic. Peter's probably one of the steadier drivers we've got in the whole series.
Yeah, but sometimes traffic can dictate that. Here we have an onboard replay. We're up behind the Z3 there in turn 1, flat-out corner. Car slides a little bit. It comes off the gas, goes back to power. Comes off the gas, goes back to power. And finally, it seeks a bigger radius, goes down the dirt. Front drive car, he's got his foot down. He's driving out there.
Well, Peter Schwartzon back out on the racetrack after a little excursion there on the outside of turn number 1. Into pit lane now, the 33 Firebird, the car that had just fallen out of first place, and now we see why. He's run out of tires for a look at things.
A lot of different pit strategy here, not a driver change, but he's going to put front tires on this car. Let's look and see if we look at the brakes. No, just front tires and a tank of gas. This is the hardest track in the country on brakes.
It's as though Craig Conway and that 31 Sunoco Firebirds opened up a bit of a gap. Now being chased down by the pair of BMWs, which are about halfway down the straightaway from the look of things. As a matter of fact, there's a change as far as the BMWs. The 54 Steve Pfeffer BMW has gotten by the 22 Mike Culver car, now runs in 2nd spot. The race leader on the front straightaway, the 31 Firebird, the 2 BMWs, 2nd and 3rd. And we've just caught up with some action on the back straightaway and suddenly flew off that blue Audi.
Looked like part of the rear bumper, yet I couldn't see any contact. Maybe on the replay we can see what might have caused that. could have been a Bobby Allison bumper, but I don't know. All right, we're side by side in the braking zone here. The Audi's on the inside, and the bumper just comes off. So maybe a little earlier someone got into that bumper.
Nonetheless, the high speed down the straightaway was enough to pull it off, and we've got a car in the tire wall, the 26 Firebird.
We stuffed the car pretty good here. This is turn 13. He comes around a high-speed corner and also gets off on the grass and just keeps going straight. I don't see anything happening here to try to slow this car down or spin it. It's just all of a sudden, boom. That's why they have tire walls. Notice there was not a big impact.
And as one Pontiac stops, we got another one in the pits. The 33 car is back in long pit lane with what looks to be a little brake fluid being topped up there.
That could be why it's back in here, because it should be
certainly not. The 31 car, Craig Conway, comes into the pits. This is probably a routine stop. As we watch John Powell's team go to work, they're going to fuel the car, put on some new tires, maybe a driver change as well. That'll give us a new leader. Steve Pfeffer and Mike Fitzgerald, the 54 BMW, inherits the lead.
Yeah, these cars stop at different times because of the gas mileage. You know, the V8 cars don't get quite the gas mileage, but once you time this right, they work out. I'm going to be at least a two-stop.
Yellows have come out again, and it's to remove that Pontiac Firebird, the 04 car, which is stopped up against the tire wall. It's in a nasty place. As we watch a whole bunch of people coming in for routine stops, trying to take advantage of this yellow flag, including the 90 Lexus out on the race circuit.
And man, if you have just pitted, this is the last thing in the world you want to see is a full coach up. When you pitted on the green, you lost almost half the racetrack. Sometimes you can lose a lap, and you cannot afford to lose a lap on a track like this. Fortunately, it's a pretty long track. Sometimes you don't. But under yellow, it's almost a free stop. You're going to lose a few spots. Here's our leader in touring. They're coming in. They're getting driver changes. They're getting their gas. Not going to lose much.
The 11 Sunoco Firebird in to take advantage of it, as is the race leader. From BMW, the 54 car, and Steve Pfeffer coming in for a routine stop under yellow. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see how all the pit stops shake out from Sebring. Welcome back to the Motorola Cup action from Sebring. Our race leader after the pit stops, the number 22 BMW. The 31 Firebird runs second. The number 7 Ford Mustang is third. The 0 Mustang runs in fourth spot. Those two cars run nose to tail out on the racetrack. But opening up a bit of a gap over the balance of the field right now, that number 22 BMW M3, Andy Pilgrim, and Mike Culver sharing that ride here this afternoon. In the touring class, the number 2 Audi of Scott Hartmann and Joe Foster continues to run very strongly. The Audi team looking for their first victory here at Sebring in the course of the 1999 season. And it looks as though things are going their way so far this afternoon. Back in the compact class, the 48 Oldsmobile Achieva at Magner and Frank Delvecchio, as well as Bob Beede, listed as co-driving that car this weekend. The Oldsmobile Achieva, probably one of the oldest cars out on the racetrack. And we join on board now with a 72 BMW Z3, the current class leader of Howie Liebengood, and Andy Lally, the 72 car, leading in class. That's the sport class.
Yeah, he misses the 24 car goes off. He does a good job of missing him. This is what they call a crunch car. These guys came from Spartanburg, South Carolina. These are cars that were either test cars, crash test cars, paint test cars, or whatever. Cars are going to tear up. So literally, they can make race cars out of them, but they're never allowed to go back on the street. So it really helps a lot of race teams to get a car like this.
As we watch in replay, one of the cars, another classic hook slide, as the 04 Audi, which lost the back bumper a little bit earlier on, backs off the racetrack, and without the benefit of that back bumper, comes in contact with some of the Armco, but doesn't look as though he does any harm there. Andy Pilgrim in the number 22 BMW. We see the gap from first to second, the BMW, and then a little bit further back, 4 cars back actually, is the second place, the number 31 Pontiac Firebird. Give you an idea of the distance from first to second there. Now we go back and look for the third and fourth place cars. The white Ford Mustang actually run. And the fifth place, number 54 BMW. Very close at this stage of the game. Up the top side of the racetrack in corner number 1, there is more action as the 24 Acura backs off of the Armco, and maybe in replay we'll get a chance to see exactly what has happened here. That 24 car follows off the racetrack and is now back underway.
Yeah, turn 1, he gets the car sliding sideways. He goes to full power. He corrects a skid like we talked about earlier. Typical hook slide. He's going back in the wall just like the Audi just did, but he has enough momentum to now hit it head first. So there's not a piece on the car he doesn't touch somewhere.
Almost does a real nice 720 there. On board now, the Team Hurricane number 10 Acura fighting for the lead in sport class. Gets up beside the 72 BMW coming into the hairpin. A little bit of contact from the look of things there, Terry.
Whoops, yeah. Well, it was hot in the braking zone, therefore the car had to go somewhere, and it shoves the Z3 off the racetrack.
Boy, that number 10 Acura has had a tough day today. Bits and pieces hanging out the front of it. He stands in contact with more than just the BMW. We'll get another look at replay.
Yeah, see, he's on the inside here, so he has the good line, but they're going so fast he can't let the car turn. And when it doesn't turn, he uses the Z3 as a cushion.
Just a little bit of contact there. Not a bad touch. Another car in along pit lane now. The overall leader, car number 22, is in the pits. Looks to be a routine stop. He's going to drop several positions, fifth, maybe sixth spot out here, as a matter of fact. Coming down the back straightaway, we've got a new race leader, too. The Devin Powell, Doug Goad, Craig Conway, number 11. Pontiac Firebird has taken over first spot from the 31 machine. Craig Conway started in the 31 car, now falls back to second position. The number 11 Firebird leads, and we got a car heavy into the tire wall.
That's a number 8 Hyundai. Let's see how he got there. Looks like the end of turn 1. In the long front straightaway, well, he blows the tire. Car will not turn. It won't stop. He is just hanging on. He's on for the ride. Fortunately, a lot of deep tires here, so the car goes way into this big wall of cushion of old used tires.
JJ Scranton, our French TV commentator for the Motorola Cup, getting some real first-hand experience. Looks to be a little sore, but he's going to be okay, and that's what it's all about. JJ Scranton walking back to the pit lane.
Gives a big thumbs up. Longest walk in motorsport.
I'm afraid so. We've got another car out here stopped on the race circuit, and maybe another long walk on the way. The 0 car of Scott Maxwell and Greg Wilkins. That Ford Mustang has stopped out on the racetrack. They were running in 5th position, and with that car in the middle of that big long Ullman straightaway, we brought out a full course caution one more time. The race leader in long pit lane for a quick splash of fuel. And Todd Snyder in the number 17 Mustang will take over the lead.
See the Hyundai back on the rollback here as they repair the wall down in turn 1 and move the tire wall back. It looks like they're bringing in their forklift. Yes, I can't believe a little bitty Hyundai can do that much damage to a concrete barrier.
He hit it pretty hard, there's no doubt about it. So the cleanup crews have their work set for them. The number 17 Zippo Ford Mustang of Todd Snyder is our new race leader, as a lot of the teams heading into pit lane to take advantage of it. We'll be back with more action as the green flag will fly in a moment from Sebring. As you know, Motorola's involvement in the Motorola Cup is a lot more than just a series sponsor. The teams actually use the products to maintain communication all the way through a race weekend.
Well, we started off with a longer involvement in the kart racing series, and what we felt was a real nice tie with the Motorola Cup is it was real cars, real people, real action that kind of brought the technology racing down to your own garage, the kind of cars that you drive to work every day. We have the two-way radios helping all the pit communication and the coordination of the race. On top of that, we also have our digital DNA products involved in most of the car systems, creating the higher performance levels. One of the big things that we find this year in particular is a new product called a page writer, basically a wireless email device. And a lot of the teams are using that. You can get an email off right from the track to your back support and get parts in right away.
To find out more, check out Motorola.com on the World Wide Web. Set for the restart here at Sebring International Raceway. The race leader is the Zippo Ford Mustang, the number 17 car of Todd Snyder. A little further back in this group. There goes Todd in the corner number 1. Several of the cars have snuck ahead of him as a result of pit stops and the like. Nonetheless, there's a big battle in behind. The number 11 car of Doug Goad right in touch with our race leader.
Yeah, Todd trying to get around some of the slower cars, other class cars right now, trying to get around cleanly. With the left and the right restarts are tough for everybody, especially the jump.
There's no doubt about it. The Grand Sport Ford Mustang now gets by most of the cars immediately in front of him. The 11 car gives chase. Doug Goad down the Green Park straightaway and into the horseshoe, and hot in pursuit. The number 54 BMW is in that mix as well, looking to the inside. Goad steals away first spot. Doug Goad, the 11 Pontiac Firebird, momentarily takes over the lead. Is he going to be able to hold on to it?
Doug took a shortcut. They bumped each other twice, and Doug had to go across the grass. So Doug actually loses about 5 spots, which gives the BMW some running room.
Mike Fitzgerald, the 54 BMW, now has an opportunity to perhaps challenge for second spot as they come to the north piece of the racetrack. Everybody manages to get through, and we've got more action out on the front straightaway. A car has lost a wheel.
Looks like Daytona's Craig Conway has lost a left front wheel right in front of the pits, which is pretty embarrassing, and I have no good way to get back to the pits. Oh my, he's going to go across the racetrack. I bet they'll talk to him about that move.
Boy, not the nicest of maneuvers, but he picked a good place to do it. There wasn't anybody around, and he managed to make it work. The 31 car loses a wheel just as he comes onto that front straightaway. If that wheel had come off another 50 yards earlier, that could have been a very, very nasty hit.
Yeah, the car wouldn't have steered at all, so he avoids a big crash. Actually, does a good job of getting the car across the racetrack. I'm not sure that's in the place.
No, sir, but the car has come to a stop, and, well, he's got a short walk back to the crew to try to find out who was supposed to tighten the nuts on that wheel.
Speaking of tightening up on the back straightaway, we have a pass for the lead.
Driving under, braking into turn number 17, Doug Goad, the 11 Sunoco Firebird, takes first place away from Todd Snyder in the Zippo Ford Mustang. Still the BMW with the best seat in the house to watch this action going down the front straightaway again in third spot. Those three cars, 1, 2, and 3 after a couple hours of racing, and now the lights come on, and that 11 car, Doug Goad, wants to make sure that nobody in his way has any question in their mind about who is sneaking up on him. He wants them to know that the race leader's right in behind him, and if they would kindly move out of the way, I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
Yeah, the smaller cars will. They'll always give you room if you see them coming, if you can do it fairly. The key is to try to get them on the straightaway, not in the corner.
So the race order, we got Doug Goad, Todd Snyder, and now running in third spot, Mike Fitzgerald in the 54. On board now with the number 10, Team Hurricane Acura. Still, the Acura and the BMW nose to tail.
Yeah, big fight for sports class here. Z3 trying to make the car fairly wide, but the Acura was able to tuck inside turn 1. It's a wide racetrack. The apex right on the wall, side-by-side action. This is almost 100 miles an hour side-by-side in these cars. A fourth gear corner.
A great piece of driving. Lance Stewart in the number 10 car in the 72 of Andy Lally. Still side-by-side at the top side, and Lance Stewart finally takes that spot away. A great piece of driving by both.
Yeah, Andy should have backed down a little bit sooner there in turn 3 so that the Acura could have slotted in front, and now they can run nose to tail, not hold each other up. Lance is a seasoned veteran in this class. The guy is, he's a champion. He's going to be a future champion. Andy Lally, he's been racing open wheel lightweight cars. Boy, he's really adapted to this heavier car. Here we come again. In the braking zone down to the hairpin. See a lot of tire smoke right in front of us. Andy locks up a tire. Now Lance is going to look right back. Anytime you make a late pass like that, sometimes you can't make your apex like you want to, and all you have to do is lay back a little bit. We see some on-car camera. Lance is going to lead for a little while. Andy's going to be right there to pop him right back.
One of the best battles out on the track is the battle further back in sport class. We catch up to the number 62, Honda del Sol, who does a fair bit of off-roading there. And whoa! Gets it all crossed up and manages to bring it to a halt before he comes in contact with that bridge abutment.
Boy, he finally got on the brakes. It's taking a while to do this. That's off camera in that corner, which means the road drops off of it. So it's easy to run off the outside edge. Here comes the pass for the lead.
Good job of Bronco Buck riding as we watch the pass for the lead. Todd Snyder to the inside of the 11. Doug Goad has to give away the spot. And here comes the 54 BMW in that one as well. Looks to the inside, but can't quite get the nose of the BMW up beside that Firebird to take away second. Todd Snyder, though, does manage to get by and steal away first. Let's take a look at our STP leaderboard from Sebring, the race leader, the number 17 Ford Mustang. Powell and Goad in the 11 car second. The 54 BMW sits third.
And in sports, it's Team Hurricane, number 10 Acura from Fort Lauderdale, over the Howie Liebengood, Andy Lally, Team SPARTANBURG, Z3, and the Van Sicklen Plum car.
In touring, it's the Hartmann and Foster Audi A4 looking for a win. The 71 Acura runs second.
Back in compact, it's the number 27 Del Sol leading over Del Vecchio, Magner, and Beede in second. And that's the number 6 car in third place. We saw what happened to number 8. We'll be right back for the finish here at Sebring.
We're back at Sebring, 10 laps to go, and do we have a race on our hands. Todd Snyder leads. Second, the 54 Mike Fitzgerald BMW. Third, the number 11 Firebird side-by-side down the front straightaway and into corner number 1.
In the meantime, the number 7 Maxwell Mustang's right back there trying to get a spot. He wants on the podium.
Boy, there is a great race going on here. Still side-by-side at the exit of 1. The BMW and the Firebird run side-by-side. The Firebird with a little bit of an advantage as far as track position. Slides the car sideways and steals it.
What they call a slide job on a dirt track, because he literally slid his nose into that apex to take this carousel. Notice the other BMW right here. Notice the number 7 Maxwell. This race is going down to the wire.
Andy Pilgrim drives a 22 BMW, the dark-colored car, and right in behind them, the number 7 Coca-Cola Ford Mustang is Scott Maxwell, who has caught up to this race and now makes it 3 abreast coming into the hairpin.
Only one car can go in there. This is not side-by-side action when we get down to the second gear corner, maybe third gear, a couple of these cars. Second gear when you're in traffic. The BMWs, you know, we saw them come together here in this very turn back in March.
Andy Pilgrim now takes the position away from the 54 car. Scott Maxwell not giving up by any stretch. Looks to the inside. Scott puts the nose up and takes that one away. So Scott Maxwell, the number 7 Ford Mustang, has used one of the slower cars as a bit of a pick. Now gives that position back again. The 54 car of Mike Fitzgerald gets back by that number 7 Ford Mustang. All sorts of dices out on the racetrack. These are positions 1 through 6 out on the track that we're watching, specifically 4, 5, and 6 out on the track now.
That gives Todd a little breathing room in the Mustang up front because he's not fighting anybody. He's just trying to pick through traffic by himself.
That's exactly where you want to be. You don't want to have to drive at all with your eye in the rear view mirror. There's lots of people in behind with exactly that problem, though. They don't want to make a mistake out on the track, and they don't want to give somebody some room to get by. Todd Snyder in the 17 Ford Mustang leading down the Illiman straightaway, the longest straightaway in the racetrack, and we'll get to see exactly the distance from 1st to 6th as the number 7 Ford Mustang pops out for a pass.
He pops out for 4th place. He's trying to go all the way to 3rd and puts the BMWs back together. We're trying to shut him down where he can't turn in turn 17 here. But notice how he has to overbrake. The BMW's right on his back bumper. He's going to be able to tuck inside him in 17. That's going to hurt both guys down the next straightaway. We got a big fight back here in sports.
Another race going on is the number 10, the Team Hurricane Acura Integra, tries to hold off the BMW Z3. We're riding along with Lance Stewart in the 10 car. The sun slowly setting in the west. It's got to be tough to drive under these conditions, especially with somebody like this BMW on your back bumper.
You can't see in the braking zone going down to the hairpin. You never have here at Sebring. You drive right, you see what they see. Now, side-by-side action. The number 11 car wide coming underneath the turn 17 bridge.
Doug Goad sliding that number 11 Firebird around through corner number 17, but he's got enough horsepower at least down the straightaway to hold off the BMW. Coming into corner number 1, though, it could be a different story.
These guys are acting like it's the last lap, but it's getting down mighty close to it for a national championship as the BMW back in front of the Firebird, in front of the Mustang.
Andy Pilgrim in the 22 BMW slides into 2nd spot. Now running 3rd, Doug Goad, driving the wheels off of that number 11 car, right in behind Scott Maxwell, another one of the hard chargers in the series. And not to be left out at all, that number 54 BMW 2. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, nose to tail with just a couple of laps left here at Sebring.
This gives Todd Snyder a little bit of breathing room. We talked about that in the past. He's the only car he's got to worry about right now because these guys are cutting and thrusting. Going down to the hairpin, look for a pass down here. These guys cannot pass up this opportunity. Now, we see the BMW come down the right side of the racetrack. He doesn't want to get past on the right. I don't blame you. I'd protect that position. You got to stay over there. This side-by-side action for place number 3.
And Scott Maxwell has indeed taken over that place as Doug Goad drives to the wide side of the racetrack, thinking he might have an opportunity as the 22 of Andy Pilgrim drove down to the inside in that corner, and that gave Scott Maxwell just enough breathing room to get the number 7 Ford Mustang up there, now running in 3rd.
And the Mustang wants some of this is turn 10. It's hard to pass here, but it can't happen. The cars are going to run. Oh, the Firebird's going to go wide, and now the BMW Fitzgerald might take advantage of that going down to turn 13. Side-by-side action. He's going to have what we call preferred line going into 13.
It looks as though Doug Goad has been driving the Firebird hard enough that his tires have started to go off, and he can't do anything now except play a little defense and wait for someone to make a mistake.
Speaking of going off, that's exactly what happened. We tucked it down inside, had a good pass going, but that radius, that speed has to go somewhere. It goes off in the dirt, doesn't lose control of the car, but loses that spot.
Mike Fitzgerald with a little error in the closing moments of our race here at Sebring. The race leader, Todd Snyder, the number 17 Zippo Ford Mustang. As the shadows get longer and longer, he's opened up a pretty fair advantage over everybody else while that dice per second has been going on.
You can still see that yellow Firebird in his rearview mirror. He knows he's back there somewhere. So Todd's just trying to be as cool and calm as he can, just like we saw the last few laps just a few weeks ago up at Wilkins.
Ed Magner and Frank Del Vecchio, the number 48 Oldsmobile Achieva, just in front of the race leader through the hairpin now. And it looks as though on the straightaway, the race leader's going to get by to the outside of the racetrack. The Oldsmobile drive to the inside gives the race leader lots of room there.
Yeah, Todd waves back at him. He pulls over for him and thanks him a lot. Thanks him for doing that because he knows that he's got to get cars between him and the second, third, and fourth place cars.
Speaking of which, we haven't seen a BMW win a race, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen today. As a matter of fact, they might not even finish second as the 7 Ford Mustang of Scott Maxwell drives by.
Yeah, he had a good run coming out of the hairpin turn, coming up to turn 10, got him in the braking zone. The BMW, however, can probably get a good run and come back to 13.
Scott Maxwell gets the number 7 Mustang a little bit sideways under braking, and now they've got another problem to deal with, that 90 Lexus, which was involved in the incident. Looks as though he's got a mechanical problem. He's just trying to limp it back into pit lane before the end of the race.
Yeah, he might have a tire down because they had contact earlier. And now we see our leaders who are trying to get through some of the back traffic.
The 27 Honda Del Sol just in front of the Ford Mustang. Some contact out on the racetrack, and the Honda slides off the circuit. The Fenton Beede 27 car.
This car was leading in compact. I don't know if he lost a spot there because he got turned around or not. He was trying to be a good guy, trying to get out of the way, but they just both second-guessed each other. You can see a replay of it coming up to turn 15, coming over the back straightaway in the hard braking zone. The Honda doesn't pull over to the left quite soon enough, so the Mustang goes over to the real line. Now the Honda moves over, doesn't see the Mustang, and the Mustang turns him around. Fortunately, the Del Sol does not lose the lead that pace.
He's lost a lot of his cushion, but not the class lead in compact. Catching up with the touring class leader now, that number 2 Audi, looking for their first victory of the 1999 season, and it looks as though things are going to go in their way as we're approaching the final lap here at Sebring. The number 2 Audi A4. The last lap sign has come out for the race leaders. One more tour for Todd Snyder. He and Mark Ackley in the 17 Ford Mustang doing a great job here at Sebring once again.
Yeah, Todd likes to see this flag from where he's at. He's up front. He's got his 3.7 miles more to get 2 wins in a row.
And it looks as though the car has seen its fair share of hard knocks. Now running without a turn signal lamp in the left front corner. But the car continues to run strongly, and Todd's just motoring as smoothly as he dares, and yet maintain the lead that he's worked so hard to build up over the past 5 or 6 laps.
And the exact same thing in touring. It's this Audi. This will be the first Audi win since I think Doc Bundy won here about 10 years ago in an old World Challenge car.
Some problems out on the racetrack. It looks as though one of the BMWs may be having a little bit of problem as bits and pieces fall out from underneath of the 54 car. Coming down the Ullman straightaway just in front of the race leader, as a matter of fact, Todd Snyder.
Yeah, Todd's coming down. That BMW might be blowing that left rear tire. You know, it was rubbed on the fender earlier.
Could very well have been. Todd Snyder may have backed off just a little bit. The last thing he wants to do is get involved in an incident as he comes down the front straightaway for the final time. Todd Snyder drives way to the high side, trying to stay out of trouble. The 54 BMW is going to be right behind him as he takes the checkered flag. Todd Snyder and the Simple Ford Mustang team, race winners at Sebring today. Mark Ackley, with his first professional victory at Watkins Glen a race ago, now makes it 2 in a row along with Todd Snyder. The touring class winner, Scott Hartmann and Joe Foster. There's another happy team. The first win ever for Audi in the Motorola Cup in touring class today.
Looking for sports from Team Hurricane inside the car. That'll be Lance Stewart, John Barassa. Another great win, especially at the home track.
Big wave for the team as he goes down the start-finish line. And now, in compact class, the number 27 Bob Beede, Bill Fenton, Honda Del Sol. They finished just in front of the 48 Oldsmobile Achieva in their compact class. We'll be back to meet the race winners from Sebring, Florida. The Motorola Cup continues in just a moment. Welcome back to Sebring, Florida. Here are the Grand Sport overall and class winners. Todd Snyder and Mark Ackley, also our Motorola StarTAC stars of the race.
We had a little bit of problem with the pit stops as far as the full course yellow closing the pits down on us, but luckily we didn't run out of fuel, and good pit stop by the TF Racing crew. They got us back going again. An excellent pit stop strategy for the second half there as far as doing a time stop and getting us back out in the lead on that last full course yellow there. So great job by everybody. Car ran great.
The first-time winners for Audi today, drivers Joe Foster and Scott Hartmann in the A4.
This has been kind of a research and development year for us. We've only run like 5 events, but we've really put a lot of development into the car, and it's starting to pay off.
And in the compact class, a little bit of a moment near the end there for Bob Beede and Bill Fenton.
I was thinking, oh my God, because we had a lot more on the line there. That's we're in the hunt for the driver's champion, the team championship, and the manufacturers, and so it was trying to keep it all that in mind, thinking we had a good win going with a couple of minutes to go, and then all of a sudden I'm going around in circles. So I thought I gave it all up, but we got it going again, so it wasn't any real damage.
Our Derringer Ford Motion winners, number 78, the Definitors Thompson Firebird, gained 11 positions in today's race.
Let's take a final look at our STP leaderboard. In Grand Sport, once again, the winners overall today, Mark Hackley, Todd Snyder in their Ford Mustang. David Lacey and Jay Maloney in their Mustang was second. Culver and Pilgrim third.
In sports, here's a replay. John Barraza, Lance Stewart take the win over Howie Liebengood and Andy Lally in the Z3.
In touring class, it was Hartmann and Foster in the Audi A4. Peter Schwartzot, Bob Endicott in the Acura second. Hein and Green third in their Honda Prelude.
And once again, the winners in compact. It's the number 27 Del Sol of Fenton and Beede over Del Vecchio, Magner and Beede in the Achieva.
Bob Beede had all his bases covered today. For Terry Earwood, I'm Jim Martin saying so long from Sebring, Florida. The Motorola Cup has been brought to you by Motorola, web without wires. By Castrol, with track-proven performance. And by Hoosier Tires, tires designed for champions.